Chapter 16: The Landfill Challenge. I grew up in California in the 1980s, so even if I didn't want to learn about ecology, I was destined to be an armchair expert. California is the kind of place that has nuclear free zone signs, and it banned indoor smoking decades before banning public nudity. My public school taught me in the first grade how to take a 3-minute shower and how to shame everyone in my family if they didn't recycle. This brainwashing worked. To this day, I've never littered and I'm obsessed with conservation. I was especially sold on recycling until I read a report that spoke about the ludicrous amount of drinkable water that is used to wash recyclables and how expensive it is to sort it since people commonly mix garbage with recyclables. It then explained how we use gasoline to ship recyclables to places like China, who probably bury it. I figured, no problem. I'm sure we have lots of alternatives for waste. After all, we're humans, the same species that created 15 versions of ESPN and more than 45 unique flavors of Doritos. Surely, we can figure out a safe way to process waste, right? Don't hold your Doritos breath. There are only 3 options for waste: recycling, shooting it into space, which is very expensive, or putting it in a landfill. I researched landfills and discovered that if we do a good job sealing their bottoms, they work. But if we mess up and they leak, a toxic sludge called leachate seeps into our soil, and we end up drinking violently parasitic toxins that kill us. Like it or not, landfills are probably the future solution for our garbage woes, which means we may be forced to live near one someday. I don't like surprises, so I created a 21-day landfill challenge to discover how my waste smells as it rots and how long that takes. And also because I was totally curious about making leachate. But I couldn't start without my wife's permission, since she would have to participate. Now, my wife loves and supports me like no other human, but this was a lot to ask. What about the stench, she demanded, and what if there are bugs? I smiled. It's January. It isn't hot enough for bugs yet. And the stench? We'll keep the trash in the guest bathroom, and I'll scrub it clean when we're done. She agreed, but I wasn't dumb. I wanted to simulate a landfill, not risk death. So I drafted 3 rules. Rule number 1. For leachate safety, all trash would be kept in the guest bathroom. Rule number 2. For odor authenticity, all trash had to be single-bagged, and there would be no use of Febreze, Lysol, incense, or any other deodorizers. Rule number 3. The byproducts of all food must remain in the house, which was to stop my wife from composting food scraps outdoors in a desperate attempt to mitigate the odors. What surprised me most in this challenge was the nuances of my waste. There's a company named after a rainforest that uses cardboard from trees to ship their wares, and by the end of this challenge, our bathroom was overflowing with boxes from them. This also changed my attitude towards food scraps. When you know the end of a carrot will be rotting in your house, you chop a little closer to the butt. I was already resource conscious, but now, if it's edible, I eat it. When this challenge ended, I was disappointed because we failed to create leachate, and the smell, while awful, was not as bad as I'd expected. My old roommate's hockey bag smelled worse. On the bright side, since our marriage survived this, I know it can survive anything. I'm now waiting for the cost of shooting trash into space to go down so I can develop a space trash challenge and then pitch it to my wife.